opposite effect, incensing the crowd, pushing them onto the streets. This is the decisive moment that young activists galvanized the crowd to move on state television and other hated symbols of the regime.
And people are now in front of the Egyptian TV and radio headquarters. Many people are here, and there are many army tanks and officers and soldiers everywhere. And people are very angry and upset. And tomorrow there are supposed to be main demonstrations all over Cairo and different cities like Suez, Port Said, and Alexandria.
They've gone onto the streets of Alexandria and are heading towards, I'm told, the military base.
I think the protesters on that Friday morning, after that late night statement by the president, felt cheated. They felt like he had sent messages that he could be stepping down through various means, and then he tricked the people, and that made them angry. And there was definitely a sense in that square when I was there very early in the morning, on that Friday morning, that something has to be done, that he cannot continue to rule this country, and that he cannot continue to be under this illusion that the protesters would leave. It was definitely a different feeling inside that square on Friday morning.
The size of the turnout today will show just how much pressure there is on Mubarak.
The military making a statement through state television saying that the military will guarantee an end to the emergency law once the existing conditions are over. There was no time frame given and no specific detail as to when, how, or under what contexts they will remove the emergency law. But again, very general statements, very imprecise and unspecific statements, and certainly no reference at all to President Mubarak. This after he, on Thursday night, disappointed the entire crowd there by appearing on television and saying that he will not resign.
Well, the numbers are starting to gradually increase out here. It started out early in the morning with roughly a couple of hundred people gathered outside the palace. There are now up to perhaps 1,000 people here. More numbers are expected. That there seems to be a crowd marching now from Tahrir onto the palace.
Another mass of protesters heading towards Tahrir Square.
It seems to be a kind of new front line, if you like. Friday prayers have ended, and thousands of people coming through towards the television station and radio station building.
There's a lot of armory there. This is a potent symbol of this regime. It's its communication center, and so therefore there's probably unease in the military about what's going on there.
As every minute goes by, thousands of pro-democracy protesters are joining a crowd that is easily in the hundreds of thousands.
Unlike the day before on Thursday, where the statements that were coming out of the government were very much hyped and anticipated, Friday's events seemed very, very subtle and actually very rapid in terms of the development. We knew that by Friday morning, dozens, if not hundreds of protesters had moved towards the state and television building. Hundreds more had gone towards the presidential palace. So we knew that the Liberation Square protesters had slightly taken to the streets in a different manner. And by Friday afternoon, we were told that there was going to be a statement by the office of the president.
We think it's going to happen right now. We're watching state television here now, who are running their titles.
We were actually filming in the square because there were hundreds of people who were there praying.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. My fellow citizens, at these hard circumstances our country is experiencing, President Mohammed Hosni Mubarak has decided to waive the office of the President of the Republic and instructed the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces to run the affairs of the country. May God guide our steps.
Listen to that crowd. That's what they've been waiting for. Hosni Mubarak has gone.
The whole idea of Egyptians just being submissive and worshipping their pharaoh, all this is
Egyptian, I felt a great sense of pride in that a country that had been so criticized for so many years, that its people were dormant, politically apathetic, disenfranchised, disengaged, over the course of 3 weeks, they found their voice, and their voice on this night was heard.
Business Latest is brought to you by Qatar Gas, delivering energy to the world. Business Latest is brought to you by Qatar Gas, delivering energy to the world.
Malaysia has created the world's tallest self-installing wellhead platform and designed the largest and most advanced racecourses. Discover Malaysia's service excellence at the Malaysia Services Exhibition Abu Dhabi. Register with Martrade.
China has a growing elderly population, and as a consequence of its one-child system, there are fewer younger people to take care of them. It's a responsibility that often falls to the state. Private retirement homes offer an alternative, but independence comes at a price, financially and emotionally. Faces of China, at this time on Al Jazeera.
This is Al Jazeera.
Hello there, welcome to the News Hour live from Doha. I'm Shuli Ghosh from Al Jazeera News Centres in Doha and in London. These are the main stories. More than 60 people reported dead after more violent clashes in Libya. But protests are gathering momentum. Demonstrators say they've taken control of several key towns. An Indian court has upheld the death penalty on the only gunman captured alive after the Mumbai massacre.
I'm Felicity Barr in London with reaction from Europe, including...
We have summoned the Libyan ambassador to the Foreign Office in London today, again to express our absolute condemnation of the use of lethal force against demonstrators.
Britain calls for a swift